All right, what's up guys? It's Matt's Boost, and if you're watching this video, you're probably looking at Corvettes and thinking, which one should I buy? Should I get a C5? Should I get a C6? Or should I get the C7? Well, I've done the research. I've got a Corvette. Let's talk about it. Here's the thing, no matter what Corvette you get, you really can't go wrong. Well, unless, you know, it's a piece of junk and it needs a lot of maintenance and money to get it running. But either way, the C5, C6, C7, they all have their really nice characteristics. Now, let's start with the C5. It's the older Corvette overall. It was made from 1997 to 2004. And the C5, you can't go wrong, man. It's kind of got the 90s look. It's got a little bit of a retro feel. It's got the pop-up headlights, and it's a really good looking car. The only downfall about the C5 is that it's just a little bit older. You know, it's going to require more maintenance overall, unless you can find something just on a lucky find that's been in someone's garage, driven, you know, just like once a year or whatever. Otherwise, the C5's a little older. It's going to take a little bit of work. Now, the cool thing about the C5 is that they're super affordable right now. You can probably get a good deal on a C5 for under, honestly, you might can find one for $13K if you get lucky. If you're just looking to get into Corvettes and you need something that's the most affordable option, the C5's pretty nice. You've also got the Z06, and the Z06 C5 is made from 2001 and 2004, and to me, that is the best bang for the buck. I love the C5 Z06, and if you can find a C5 Z06 for under 20K, that might be worth considering as well. The C5, like the C6, C7, it's going to be a little bit limited on room, but the C5 on the interior, it's going to have more outdated technology, especially compared to the C7. It's going to be a much more raw feel. It's just an older car in general, but it's still a really good buy. If you're just trying to get into Corvettes, a C5 under 15K, that could be a really good car. And then next on the list, we got the Corvette C6. Now, I'm biased. I have a C6. I love it. And a lot of people say the Corvette C6 is the best looking Corvette ever made. Overall, I don't know. And I love the Corvette C6. Now, the Corvette C6 was made from 2005 to 2013. The Corvette C6 came in a couple different models, you know. The Corvette C6 is like right in the middle of the C5 and C7, you know. The interior is pretty nice. The interior is a little outdated, but you now have the LS2 or LS3, unless you've got the Z06 or ZR1, and the LS2 or LS3 makes a lot more power. To me, the C6 is the best looking car compared to the C5, C7, so I think the C6 price-wise is going to be one of the better options for most guys getting into their first Corvette. Most Corvette C6s you can get for around 25K. You can get lucky, find some for under 20K, especially with some higher miles, and you can pay up to 35K if you get a Z06 or a Grand Sport that's a little newer and low miles. Now, the good thing about the C6 is that there's a lot of parts, there's a lot of information on them, they're not super expensive to work on, they're pretty easy, but compared to the C5, buying one, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. Now let's talk about the C7. Now the C7, it is the newest compared to the C5, C6, obviously, and because it's newer, the interior and exterior really show that C7 has more of a kind of a supercar look to it, and the interior is much nicer overall. A lot of guys say that the C7 is just a better driving car. You know, it's just a little bit more comfortable, a little bit less road noise than the C6, especially the C5. And the C7, though, you're going to pay more, you know. Now the C7 with the LT1, it's going to make about 20-30 more horsepower than the LS2 or LS3, so that's the biggest upgrade about the C7 in my opinion, is getting the extra power. Now it's got a little bit sleeker design, it's got a little bit updated interior, so when it comes down to the C7 is going to be the newest, it's going to have the best interior, but it's also going to be the priciest. For a C7, you're going to pay at least 35K. If you're just trying to get into Corvettes and maybe you don't have a ton of money, $35,000-$40,000 car payment might be a lot, and I get it, and that's where you might need to think about the C6 for around 25K. If you're just trying to save some real money, you know, get into a C5 for 15K or so, and that's still a really nice Corvette. At the end of the day, if you had to compare the C5, C6, C7, the C7 makes the most power. The C6 is going to be the most middle ground, best bang for the buck in my opinion. If you get the C5, I'd really try and go towards a Z06. If you get a C6, I would look at a Grand Sport personally. If you go for a C7, you can get a base model. If you get a Z06, that's going to be really nice, but the C7 Z06 is going to be 50, 60, 70K plus. So they're a little pricier on that side. So overall, I think in the middle, C6, Grand Sport, 25 to 30K is going to be best bang for the buck. If you're trying to get into the Corvette game, get you a C5, keep that bad boy for a little bit, work on it yourself a little bit, enjoy it, and then upgrade to a C6 or a C7 down the road. But either way, man, you can't go wrong no matter which Corvette you get. They're all really fun. They all have their certain little characteristics, and they're going to be fast no matter what. It's a dang Corvette, you know? So either way, I appreciate you guys watching, man. I just want to do a quick video breaking down Corvette C5, C6, C7. Which one should you get? Which is the best bang for the buck? I appreciate you guys watching. Like and subscribe. We'll see you guys on the next one.